you got to put it live on YouTube.
That's Will Panda's job.
I just went live. Thanks to me, because Samsung fucked up.
What do you mean I fucked up? It's your job.
You said we're live, so I assumed you clicked it, right? I mean, come on. It said, we're live.
Going,
I said, okay, then I'm just
going
sit there
live.
waiting.
We'll cut this part out in production.
There's no cutting out. It's all live.
There's no production anymore.
There's division of responsibilities. Samson clicks live on Zoom. I click live on Wirecast.
Yes.
Whale Panda clicks live on YouTube. This isn't rocket scientists.
And I don't have to do anything. Awesome.
How can we have four technical people and we can't even click live?
I'm not technical. I'm not technical.
It's not technical to press a button.
No, but anyway, when you say I clicked go live, so I assumed, okay, it's literally a button that says go live. So I assumed just click like go live on YouTube.
Yeah, you click the button and then you go live on YouTube.
Yes, but you said I clicked go live.
You, as in you, Whale Panda, need to click go live.
Oh man.
I did now.
Okay, now
eventually.
Spend the whole episode arguing.
Not only was Whale Panda late, he also wasted 10 minutes of the episode not going live. That's why we're 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not late. I was actually exactly on time.
Have you ever been trading?
I was
and then try to press the button that says sell, but you didn't press the button, and you got wrecked?
No, but actually what happened is like I put the zero too much and stuff like that. That happens. I have a buddy who wanted to buy 8 BTC, it's a while back, 8 BTC worth of Monero, and he bought 80 BTC, like market buy.
Oh, he really got wrecked.
And then I made my announcement and he lost it all.
No, luckily not.
Have you ever
I think it was like he resold immediately and it like almost break even. So
have you ever swapped the amount with the price?
No, well, I entered it and then I always double check. Most of the exchanges, but anyway, that doesn't really matter that much, because if you say like I want to buy 50,000 worth of BTC at 9,000 USD, well, if you switch them, then most of the time it doesn't.
If you do sell, then it will matter, right? Either way, one way it will really hurt if you buy or sell. But most exchanges have like if your price is way off market, it will warn you.
That's one of the how bad a trader Will Panda is to start the show.
Yeah, it's a fast finger or the fat finger problem.
I never fucked up that much. Anyway,
Ricardo,
Ricardo, can you start the show?
Yeah, can we start the show?
Magical crypto. The best thing to do is simply to hodl. What's a young pony to do in a sea of shady ICOs? A lion's courage can light up even the darkness of shadows. Unlike the corporate suits, the whale panda is wise. A chicken dreams about the moon while soaring in the skies. As Bitcoin sees new all-time highs. Magical crypto. All around me I see big blockheads. Magical crypto. The best thing to do is simply to hodl. We'll always buy the dip, and we'll always be the best of the rest.
With me, Whale Panda, Charlie Lee, sitting in the infinitely fleet spaceship, trying to shill Samson's new game. Ricardo in the very cool Babe t-shirt or sweater, whatever it is. And Samson Mao just sitting in his office with the hat it's not his, I guess. That's not one of yours.
It's not my hat, it's just the AX hat. But I think since we went live, those intros don't work. Because if we're not talking, the camera doesn't switch to us.
Yeah, I know. This makes... Well, you will talk at some point and then you'll see like the comments I made.
Yeah, but, I mean, I figure that's just something we'll fix in post, right?
There is no post.
Well, I'm actually not in an infinite fleet. What is an infinite fleet anyways? I'm in a Star Destroyer, come on.
Infinite Fleet is the best game that's coming out next year.
It's vaporware, as far as I'm concerned.
It's real. You invested in it. It's real.
I invest in a lot of vaporware.
Yeah, we just invested because you kept pushing us. Oh, you're our friends. You're supposed to support me. Please buy my game, buy my token.
And I
It'll
had
be
to
on
let you guys
Liquid.
in. You're
It'll
begging
be
to
on
go
Liquid, I
to come in.
promise. We're issuing on Liquid. We're not issuing on Ethereum, guys.
Samson just said, "Give me $1 so I can put your name on it."
No, you guys were begging to come in. I had to leave other investors out just to take you guys.
The Winkle vibe were like, please, Samson, please let us in. And Samson was like, no, I have no space after Whale Panda and Charlie Lee and Ricardo have invested.
Exactly. It's a better match too, you know. It's the Gemini spaceship. That's their slogan. It's the slogan, right?
Did you actually approach Roger Ver? I hear he invested in a lot of shitcoins.
No, I haven't. Should I?
Why not?
I should talk to Vitalik. He likes MMOs.
Does he?
Yeah. The whole
Yeah,
reason
I-
Ethereum exists is because his warlock in World of Warcraft got nerfed.
You know that
I
story,
can't tell
right,
if that's
Charlie?
true. Is that true?
Oh,
or is
yeah,
that
yeah,
a joke?
that's true.
And he
He
cried himself to sleep or something. Yeah.
his warlock in World of Warcraft got deleted by
Nerfed.
the server.
Nerfed.
No,
By
no.
Nerfed, by his stuff got deleted.
No.
His items got deleted.
No,
What do you mean?
no.
No.
His stats got.
You know what
You,
nerf
you know what
means?
nerfing is? It's like when you make a powerful character less powerful. So it was like
I thought it was like a
Oh,
gun
because
that
they
shoots
changed
those little rubber bullets.
they changed the game rules so that
Yeah.
because character's not as powerful anymore.
Yes.
And the only way to stop that is by having a decentralized computer that gets hacked every 5 minutes.
Yes.
Well, he has control. That's what he wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's start with an interesting topic. So the Venezuelan regime. Some Venezuelans told me that I'm not allowed to say government because it's not really a government, it's more like a regime. Started accepting Bitcoin for certain passport applications, which are done by people from outside of the government. So that's an interesting development, I guess. Do you guys expect to see more of that from like Iran or other Syria? I don't know, other countries?
First of all, is it the government itself, or is it some third party that's
No.
accepting
It's one of the government. It's the government's department, like for applying for passports and stuff. What's curious about it is they did used to accept Petro, as I understand it, but because Petro's a nightmare, they switched to BTC Pay Server, and they accept Bitcoin, and they've got a sign above it that says credit cards coming soon.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, if they're using BTC Pay Server, they can take Liquid Tether.
I mean, if I have to hear Liquid one more time, I think I'm going to throw up.
You're gonna throw some liquid at
Hey,
your screen.
you're usually the guy that talks about Liquid on this show, not me.
As a joke.
You're
you
the
like
joke, Samson. You're the joke.
I think you like Liquid.
So anyway, that was a very interesting development, I think. And I'm curious to see. It's the first government agency to accept that, I guess. So do you guys expect like more countries to start doing that, or it's just like a one-off thing?
It's pretty cool, especially because they're actually keeping the Bitcoin, right? I mean, they're using BTC Pay Server, so
Yeah.
they're not using like a fiat exchange payment processor. So that's pretty neat that the government is actually accepting BTC for some
Well,
service.
the sad part is, of course, that it's Venezuela, so that's like shady stuff going on there. But yeah.
I think it's
Well, I
not
mean-
going to be that common. The government has to be in deep doo-doo to take Bitcoin. If they
Deep
don't take their
doo-doo.
own, if they don't take their own fiat currency, it's kind of a vote of non-confidence. in their
Well,
own
I
currency.
think the issue here was it's for it's to renew passport for people outside of the country. So I guess if you're local, they have their own payments provider, so that would work. But I guess because it's from people who, for example, live in the US, that they have issues with processing the payment, and that's why they're using BTC.
Then it's not really that big of a deal. They're just trying to make it easier for people that are overseas, right? If
Yeah.
it was like a service for locals, then it would be more meaningful.
Yeah, I think it's just like an interesting gimmick, I guess.
It's still pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, but if you say it's cool, then you get the Venezuelans. They're
What's
not
that?
that happy. Yeah, when you say it's like cool, that then it sounds like you're supporting the government in a way. So that might not be the
I
right
support
word.
all governments. Just put on a record, I support all governments.
I mean, I'd like to point out that if Giacomo was on here, he'd probably have like a picture of a boot with someone licking it, like ready to go.
Okay, so yeah, okay, that was the first topic. So let's move on. So there's been a lot of talk now recently about GBTC.
What is GBTC?
The
Global
trust.
Bitcoin. Okay, no, I was wrong.
Is it a fork of Bitcoin?
It's not, and you know that as well. It's
Yeah,
Barry Silbert, Grayscale's Bitcoin trust, basically. So they accept.
He's just asking to make sure everyone knows. He's just, trying to be hopeful.
Yeah.
We might have viewers that don't know, so you have to talk about it a bit.
So basically, the advantage is that you can buy sort of Bitcoin through the New York Stock Exchange. So it's basically just a equity. It's just shares that sort of corresponds with Bitcoin. So what happens is people send either money or BTC to Grayscale, and they convert it into shares. And those shares represent like 0.00096 BTC. And they get locked up for 6 months. And after 6 months, the people who like created those shares, they can dump it on the market basically. So there is a premium there. There are some advantages there for people, for example, in the UK, not UK, US obviously.
US.
It's all over the pond for me. Technically, that's true. So, for example, people who have the 401k, they want to buy stock. They can invest in stocks. They can buy GBTC to have some exposure to Bitcoin, for example. Yeah. And
you're explaining that. Shouldn't Charlie explain it? He's American.
Is he?
It's not like I
doesn't look
know
American.
GBTC more than you guys.
But you know,
Wow, that was
better.
he doesn't look American. He doesn't look American. That's like not racist at all. What does an American look like?
You know the meme that's been going on the last couple of days. There's two.
Royal Panda is trying to change the subject.
No. No. What does American look like? Those rich people, with the guns outside of the homes.
The dude with the rifle and the girl with the little.
Yeah, those are American.
Those two guys, that couple is loaded, man. You see the house?
Yeah.
Wow, it's impressive.
So anyway, there's been a lot of talk about GBTC and the influence of it on the market, because they've been locking up more BTC than it's being mined currently after the halving. Now people are saying like, oh, but it's not all being bought, and that's true. So it's not all new money coming in, but it's because you can also pay in kind. So you can send them BTC. They will convert it to shares, and then basically you have shares and you don't have your keys anymore. Now, why would people do that? For the premium. So there's about, at the beginning of like last month, the premium was still around 20%. Now it's around 7-8%. So it's still worth it to do it. So still more BTC is going off the market than that's actually being mined currently.
Didn't you have an argument with Joe 007?
Well, it was not an argument. He's always just short. So he's trying to say like, oh, look, the narrative that Grayscale is buying more BTC than that's being mined. It's not really true because it's not all being like bought with new money and new fiat coming in, and that's kind of true. But at the same time, those people who sell or like who convert their BTC to shares, they can also after 6 months, for example, dump their shares and then rebuy more BTC because they had a premium. So they can, for example, decide like, if the premium is 10% and you locked up 100 shares, then after 6 months you dump and you have enough money to buy 110 BTC.
His argument is stupid anyways, because if there's new money coming in to buy, someone's selling for fiat at the same time someone's buying. So it's not like when there's new money coming in, there's money going out also, right? So you can also think of like people moving their BTC to GBTC is the same as them selling their Bitcoin to someone else that's buying Bitcoin, to GBTC that's buying Bitcoin, right?
Yep.
It's the same idea, right? You just when someone's buying, someone's selling. So it's silly to say that there's no new money coming in.
Yeah, but you also have to like keep in mind that the BTC is locked, so there's no way to redeem it yet, and I don't expect it to ever happen. Well, maybe ever, that's a big word, but to happen anytime soon. Because Grayscale is actually getting 2% management fee.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no incentive to actually allow people to withdraw or convert their GBTC back to BTC at some point. It's a moneymaker for them.
It's huge. They have like, what is it, $3.6 billion in Bitcoin. That's like 2% of all Bitcoin is locked up in.
It's around 400k BTC now. It was 390 or something like that. So
yeah. It's pretty
even
impressive.
if you ignore the mining production, there's like a massive inflow of Bitcoins just being taken off the market alone. Like,
that helps.
Big buy pressure.
Yeah, and still the price is not moving up. So that people are like saying that something shady is going on and stuff like that. So and also those 390k BTC, they're being held by Coinbase custody, which was formerly Xapo, I guess. So
it's not formally Xapo, right? They just kind of
they acquired
they bought it. They acquired it. So
but Coinbase custody existed before Xapo, so it's not like they bought Xapo and then turned it into Coinbase custody.
Okay.
They just bought the assets that Xapo was holding, I'm guessing, and they're now controlling a lot more assets than before.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough shilling GBTC, I think, for now.
We're not even paid to show GBTC.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
but GBTC, our advertising rates are super cheap. Like, I'm just saying.
Barry, please, come on.
We can talk about GLTC.
We'll even talk about ETC if you want. Like, we're open.
Oh, so actually, that's also interesting. So they have a couple of different products, but the Ethereum one was trading at a 500% premium, and the whole reason for that is because it took a year for the shares to become vested, and they can dump it. So now, recently, a lot of shares got vested, and the premium was down from 500% to like 170% or something like that. So if people can also send them Ethereum or money to buy Ethereum, convert to shares, and that takes a year before they can dump it. And that's why it was trading at a really insane premium.
What actually is more amazing is that their Ethereum Classic Trust is $70 million. That's like 10% of all ETC is stored.
That was their first one, right? Well, after Bitcoin.
Barry was a huge ETC fan for some reason.
I think he was just a huge Ethereum proponent. I mean, not proponent, but like he's anti-Ethereum. And so he's like, well, I'll kill Ethereum by supporting ETC.
He's the Roger Ver of Ethereum.
Okay.
It's kind of true.
Kind of true.
Roger Ver just copied him.
So let's move on. So we're talking about Ethereum. So if we're talking about Ethereum, we need to talk about DeFi hacks. So
Dare to DeFi.
Which one?
the most recent one was a 500K hack.
Oh,
I don't know. Ricardo wanted to talk about this because he loves DeFi hacks.
Wasn't
I
there
just want
another
to talk
hack?
about it.
Wasn't
There's a
there
hack
another
every
that
other
lost-
day.
Yeah, can't keep track.
Which one are you talking about? 500K? That's like nothing.
Yeah, well,
That's like
It's like
Ricardo
business-
loses that in his sleep every week.
That's like regular business day.
Jeez. Okay. No, it's yeah. Look, I mean, the thing is, so I asked a question on Twitter. Like, I wonder when the amount that gets stolen from DeFi contracts is going to flip the amount that that's been stolen from centralized exchanges. And I think you can sort of exclude older hacks where things are a little bit more amateurish. So maybe you take out the DAO, you take out Mt. Gox, and you assume people have learned from that. And I think, of course, there are some people who are up in arms and they're like, it's just a small fraction of the amount that's been stolen from centralized exchanges, which is true. But there's only a small fraction of crypto that's in DeFi compared to the amount that's locked up in exchanges. So, it's not really, you can't compare it in terms of raw amounts at the moment. But maybe in terms of ratio, it would be interesting to see the ratio of crypto locked up in centralized exchanges versus how much has been stolen, and then run that same calculation on DeFi products. I think the general approach with DeFi is to build things that are incredibly complicated. And then when someone points out that there might be an issue with it, you slap a Band-Aid on, and you keep slapping Band-Aids on, adding more complexity and interoperating between DeFi products, because now you rely on this DeFi product to provide this piece of functionality, which relies on that DeFi product. And there are these weird complex loops and dependency structures that people are already exploiting and have exploited and will continue to exploit.
Yeah, but those are
Also,
not even
yield
hacks.
farming is not a job. I just want to point out, if you think that yield farming is a job, you need to go and work in McDonald's, because this is not a job.
The thing is,
like those gold farmers, World of Warcraft
Warcraft.
gold farmers. Soon it will be yield farmers all over
Yeah.
China.
but Rick, it's not even hacked then if it's just building on rickety DeFi pieces interoperating with one another. That's just how it works.
Yeah,
So-
that's the sad reality, is that when stuff like this happens and something gets exploited, it's not like, I mean, the DAO was an exploit, right? You could clearly see that it was an exploit. And of course, I even made the argument that as long as you're following the rules of the system, is it really a hack? But I think with the DeFi stuff, it's even more blurry, because not only are you following the rules, but you're taking advantage of the system. So you're not really breaking anything. It's designed that way. It's just designed poorly.
But at that point, it's not even an exploit. It's functioning as is. So if you had a QA tester, they would just check that off like as designed.
Yeah.
What's a loophole? It's not really as designed, right? People don't want you to be able to siphon off funds from others. So,
But it is. If you're interoperating like that, then it is the design of the system. It's just a bad idea. And most people don't understand that right away. That's two different things, I think.
so what's
let me
it-
flip this. So let me flip this round, though. I mean, the reality is that you're right. It is rickety infrastructure, but maybe, arguably, if we had to build stuff like this on a platform like Liquid or Lightning or RGB or whatever, would we not end up with the same thing? Because the issue is not the underlying infrastructure is bad. It's that a lot of the people building these products are relying on the abilities of others, and there's just there's no culture of building stuff that is stable and well designed and well thought through.
Yeah, I was thinking. Well, I
I mean,
think if I don't know, if we were to build something like DeFi-like on Liquid, we would just do it with Bitcoin smart contracts or with Simplicity, and then the price feed would just be probably an amalgamation of a few centralized price feeds. There's no need for that whole system to be redesigned and decentralized for the the sake of decentralization.
One important thing with all those DeFi projects also, for some reason, they all need their own token. Right?
Of course.
I mean, some of them actually, if you think about it, if I think about the big picture, some of them can make some sense, can be useful, but then they have to like use their own token and make everything so much more complicated than it has to be.
Well, I think one of the selling points, or not a selling point, is more of a draw, is that most people can't figure out how this stuff works because it is so complicated. They just see, I can make money by yield farming, I'll put some money in, but they don't really know how it works. And sometimes the devs don't even know how it works.
So,
I mean, to Whale Panda's point though, it's the issue, part of the issue is that there is definitely, and I mean, Samson's point as well, there's a lack of understanding as to how this stuff works. And I don't begrudge anyone getting excited about a technology. I mean, it's fine to be excited about a technology, but like, where are the disclaimers? Like, oh, hey, by the way, this is probably broken, so please don't put a lot of money into it.
So also, just for everyone who's watching, if something offers you like 100% yield, 100% interest rate, I mean, that's obviously something shady going on right there.
Yeah, because was it Adam Beck that said it? I mean, it's a zero-sum game, right? Like, if you're making 100% of your money, who's losing? Like, where's that money coming from?
Well,
it's just...
You guys probably remember this, but I think BitConnect was like a high yield product. That was one of the selling points, that you get a.
I mean, OneCoin was
ROI.
too, right? All these scams are.
What do they call it? It's a HYIP, right? High yield investment.
HYIP.
Yeah.
I mean, that and that's there's a whole market of scams out there where people just like look for those, get in early and try and flip some money and then get out before the suckers get in.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
I mean, we saw the comp, right, becoming so big the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So that's a very shady one. So basically, Andreessen Horowitz, or whatever the name.
A16Z.
What?
Yeah.
A16Z.
Yeah. So they bought like a huge amount of equity in it, and they're working together with Coinbase. So obviously Coinbase listed it, and then it went crazy. And now it's just enriching the founders and enriching their funds basically. And everyone like jumped on it, and the price went crazy. But you can already short it on FTX. So if you feel lucky. But that's always the tricky part. These kind of pumps, they can go really crazy because it's so centralized. So like the supply is so centralized. So
there's not that much liquidity in it. I think now that it's getting a lot of airtime, more people are going to put money in, but then it's on the way down, and a lot of people are going to get wrecked.
So let's move on. That's enough DeFi for now.
You can never have enough DeFi.
And another, so yesterday I saw an interesting article, also tweeted about it, about Starlink and the influence that Starlink can have on authoritarian governments and stuff like that. How do you guys see it? Also, it's like competitor for Blockstream Satellite.
Really?
Because I'm quite excited about Starlink. Just the idea of having internet everywhere for a small with a small receiver or a small terminal, as they call it. Because, for example, my father-in-law works on a big vessel. He's captain of a big vessel. So, and out there, internet is like super expensive, like crazy expensive. So I guess like all the ships in the world will start using that.
So maybe as a baseline, so if you've ever used like the Inmarsat stuff, I mean, Iridium has a satellite internet product. You can get an Iridium Go Wi-Fi hotspot, but Iridium Go is really slow. It doesn't take advantage of the next gen Iridium network stuff yet. But like Inmarsat is pretty good. It's got global coverage except for the poles. And you can get I mean, like an Inmarsat, get like a BGAN Explorer 710s, not terribly, I mean, it's expensive, but it's like a once-off purchase. But yeah, the airtime's expensive. So 10 gigs a month is about $3,000 a month. And your speeds are like 640K a second. So they advertise it as 3G speeds. Practically, I don't think I've seen downloads go over like 300 or 400K a second. So it's certainly usable. And there's no barriers like once you're on. So Starlink's hopefully gonna like decimate that market and make it significantly cheaper.
And how do you see the influence of that on like in countries like China or Iran or Turkey or other countries where they shut off the internet regularly?
But do we know what Starlink's policy is with that? Right. I mean, they could be just say like not working for any of the governments and just letting anyone use it, or they could be like just working with the local government and like preventing people from using it. Right. Depends on what their policy is.
It's going to be super tough, right? Because like they could say, okay, well, when a satellite flies over a certain part of the world, then it must not relay traffic or do something like that. But I feel like that's a level of complexity that is tough to manage.
It's hard to do geographic like censorship, right? Or it's probably pretty hard for a satellite to know like where on Earth it's a broadcast satellite, right? So
yeah. So it is. I mean, it is tough. It's like that's certainly an interesting challenge. And you know, how much of a hold will governments really have over them? Is the other thing that is interesting to see.
They shouldn't, right? I mean, the Chinese government shouldn't have any hold over Starlink, but I mean, if they could prevent them from selling their services in China. But again, I mean, if you let someone check out on your website and pay with like Bitcoin, then it's, you know, how are you going to prevent someone buying a subscription?
Well, you can ban the terminals, or they can say like, for example, Tesla has a factory in China. Oh, that gets shut down, something like that.
Yeah, the thing is with Elon, he has to maintain his business interests in China, so he can't do whatever he wants. And also,
which company is doing Starlink? Is it SpaceX?
That's SpaceX.
Yeah, it's SpaceX.
So it's not that related to Tesla, except same CEO, right?
Yeah, but
SpaceX has to keep a good relationship with China because they do. I mean, they work with them. There's no doubt parts that are manufactured there. I think it's so. Maybe just to flip back to a previous question, I don't think that there's really like any that it presents any risk or competition to blockstream satellite because blockstream satellite's so specific. And it's represents a totally different use case. But for now, but you know, even if that changes in future, short of you guys launching your own satellite network, which is not cheap, you're not going to be able to compete with the bandwidth that even Inmarsat can offer. So it's a tough one.
We're just waiting for Bitcoin to go to 400K, and then we'll start launching satellites. That's the plan. It's been the plan all along. I don't know if you know.
Also going to build a laser defense system from satellites, right?
Yeah.
To protect the citadels.
That's right. But going back to a previous point, the satellite receivers are not available to be sold in China, so you can't just import and sell those as you like. And I think Starlink uses some local terminal. You're supposed to put it in your backyard, and it looks like a round dish or something, kind of like a flat ovalish shape. And it's supposed to be omnidirectional to be able to pick up any Starlink satellite overhead. But I don't think that thing is going to be very cheap. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty expensive, but we'll see. Because it's hard to track all those little Starlink satellites. They probably need to advance their tech a lot to be able to keep up. But you know, Elon Musk
they said the terminal would be a couple of $100. So that's not that much.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens when it actually comes out. But
I think it's also, but like, you know, first iteration stuff is always expensive. You know, I mean, if you want to be an early adopter.
Yeah.
It would be cool to just have it on your phone.
Yep.
Yeah. But it doesn't compete because a blockchain satellite is broadcasting for free. And the design is that you can receive a signal with any dish, any, you know, TV satellite dish, something you find in the junkyard. And the specs are all open source. So you could build your own receiver if you want. But for Starlink, you got to pay. So I don't think they're going to change much for, you know, the third world or more impoverished countries. It's more about, you know, getting good internet in the boonies in the US and wherever.
Okay, so moving on. So there's been a lot of drama now recently with Bitmain. So Samson, can you talk about like what's the current status there? Is Mikri does he have all the power back, or what's going on?
Why are you asking me? Is it because I'm Chinese?
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. So I actually prepared a bit.
What? You prepared for this show?
Yeah.
Do you have a slideshow?
Yeah. Unlike you guys,
You're gonna share your screen.
No, I just wrote down stuff.
Oh,
So-
I thought maybe if you have like.
Oh,
cards that
did
you can hold up.
you draw a little Jihan or something like that?
Yeah, I can if you want. I can sketch a stick figure diagram.
You draw
Let's see.
my Korean Jihan fighting, right?
Okay, let me see if I can do this. Zoom. Share.
Are you serious?
No. Actually, wait.
Someone just said nice haircut, Pony. Mr. Pony.
My wife cut it for me.
He's
Hey,
no
you
longer-
can do it. You can share. I can draw something.
Is it
Okay.
coming out on YouTube Vine though?
I don't know. You tell me. Okay. You guys see my drawing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can, but you cannot see it on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Damn. Okay. Okay, never mind. I'll just tell you.
You can see it on YouTube.
Oh, now,
But
wait, now
What
we can.
the fuck? You just ruined my awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys.
Well,
Are,
Panda, why do you always ruin everything?
that's what he
Because there was
does.
some delay. There was
There was
But you know, there's a delay. There's 15-second delay.
No, it's way more than that now.
it's like
Okay.
half a-
Okay, so let's start the story. So there's two CEOs of Bitmain, Jihan Wu and Mikri Zhang, and they used to work together in harmony and be co-CEOs of Bitmain. And then on October 27th last year, or October 28th last year, Bitmain was taken over by Jihan. So Jihan had left prior to that to start his own thing. I think it's like a trading desk called Matrix Port.
Well, what's the backstory though, right? Like Jihan was pushing for Bitcoin Cash and Mikri
Well-
was doing more like the AI stuff, right?
That's what the story is, but I think there's been animosity all along. But yeah, you're right. Jihan's big on Bcash, and Mikri wants to do his AI stuff, and they eventually parted ways. So Jihan went to do a new startup, but then Jihan came back suddenly while Mikri was on a business trip somewhere, and effectively kicked him out of the company. Then on January this year, Jihan started firing all the employees of Bitmain that were loyal to Mikri. And then he changed Bitmain's legal representative to their CFO. But technically, you can't do that. So Mikri came back and made a statement. And on January 31st, he took back the legal representation. So in China, that basically means you are the guy in charge of the company because you're the legal rep. And that's the highest level of company ownership, I guess, in the structure. So he started getting that back in January. He actually got it back on April 28th. On May 8th, they had a fight at the Industry and Commerce Bureau. So this was a big group. I think Mikri bought some people and Jihan's faction brought people, and they had a brawl fighting over the piece of paper, the business license. And then in May, Mikri tried to fire their CFO, but it didn't work. There was some other things. They're fighting over the company seal. So in China, you have this chalk or seal that you have to stamp on documents to sign them. And that needs to be on every document. So they're fighting over that. There's one more thing I forgot to write down. What was it again?
So they're fighting over physical ownership of that stamp?
Yeah, to execute on company legal docs.
Can you
there's
not
only
like
one
fake
stamp,
it?
right?
Yeah, can you not like?
Well, you can, but that's illegal.
Can't you? Can you 3D print another stamp?
You can. You can. Okay, and then this is where it gets fun. So on June 3rd, MICRE took a bunch of private security officers to their Beijing office. So basically their headquarters is in Beijing, even though they're a Cayman Corp, which owns a Hong Kong Corp, which owns the Beijing Corp. So there's a string of ownership. But Jihan took over the Beijing office. But MICRE brute forced and got back in with a group of private security officers. So they had to break through the locks and get in. And then he tried to provide a bounty to employees that went with Jihan. So in the meantime, Jihan reincorporated the company in Chongqing. That's another city-state, city level, basically a big city, an independent city in China. It's not like within a province. And he said, if you're working for that company, you have to come back and I'll give you a bonus. And now they're talking about Jihan doing a lot of illegal things because he probably did. And the fighting is still continuing. So that's the recap.
Okay, so that's like from
Very
the
good.
structure,
Very good.
like
Bravo.
from
Thank
the
you,
company structure and stuff like that. But now that they're also like they're not selling or not shipping miners anymore or something like that, right?
Yeah, so Jihan has been selling them out of the Chongqing company. So MICRE is saying all those orders are invalid because that company is not Bitmain. So he's blocking shipments of Bitmain stuff to anyone that bought from Jihan. So that is the latest development. So we don't know what happened with that. But I did hear rumors that there's like pallets of Bitmain S19s just sitting in the US not being deployed. It looks like their facilities are not being managed properly and there's like nobody there.
Drama.
Yeah.
Another day in Bitcoin.
Actually, that would be a good movie.
Yeah, I sent a message to Cameron Winklevoss. I said, if you're doing one for billions, why don't you just do a twofer and make the Bitmain movie too?
Maybe a good episode. Like you can make an entire movie of like Bitcoin. So many good episodes.
Yeah, but the Bitmain one is pretty over the top. I mean, it has all the elements of a good movie. It's got physical fighting, subterfuge, backstabbing. Yeah,
It's not
lots.
more over the top than the Craig Wright story.
Nah, Craig Wright hasn't had a fist fight yet, right? That we know of.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, Ricardo's preparing for that. That's why he's losing weight, getting in shape.
Yeah, I'm like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, but back to the Bitmain topic to wrap it up. I think it's really interesting because these guys were the ones that wanted to fork Bitcoin because they can't coexist with Bitcoiners and consensus. They have to do it their own way. So it's very poetic that these two CEOs, co-CEOs, couldn't see eye to eye and they just go to war with one another. So it's like a Bitmain fork.
Okay, so thank you for that short Bitmain story.
You're welcome.
And moving on then from Bitmain to eBay. So they're doing an IPO. That's also not going very well, right?
Why are these names so terrible?
Well, eBang is a direct...
eBang my Bitmain!
Yeah.
What's wrong with Bitmain? Bitmain is pretty normal sounding.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's not too
Bitmain-
bad.
Yeah, Bitmain is fine. eBang sounds
eBang.
bad.
eBang is the romanization of their Chinese name, Ebang. So it's just, I don't think they put much thought into their English name. It's just an English version of it.
You know, there's that Ricky Martin song, "When She Bangs, She Bangs." I mean, I'm just saying, like, is that their theme song?
Can you sing a few bars?
Oh, when he bang, he bang.
Okay, now we should get some advertisement money from them. So anyway,
Yeah.
but they don't have much money anymore, I think, because they're not doing too well, right?
No. That's Canaan. Canaan's stock is down.
Oh, right.
eBank just finished their IPO. So they're not IPO-ing, they IPO'd. And they raised just over 100 million. So I would say it's successful. We'll see how long their stock is holding. but there have been critics of Ebang saying they haven't really shipped the next gen miner yet, so they don't have anything good. But so far they've been able to keep up competitively with all the new generations. So I don't think it's a matter of if, it's a matter of when they come out with their new miner.
What's the valuation of their company?
600 million or something, I think, last I checked.
I mean, Bitmain's valuation like dropped like a brick, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. So they were trying to raise it $40 to $50 billion valuation back in the heyday, and now
2017, right?
yeah, and now Mikri is offering to buy back shares from Jihan's faction at a 4 billion valuation. So they went down 10x.
That's just like a normal ICO.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because they hold so much Bcash, and Bcash has dropped like 90%. So
Yeah, well, Jihan did say Bitmain is the tokenization. No, Bcash is the tokenization of Bitmain. It's
Did he?
true. It's true.
Okay.
he probably didn't use the word Bcash, but
Well, no,
everything else
he
is
said
true.
his exact words were Bitcoin Cash is the tokenization of Bitmain.
So I think we're out of topics now.
Are we?
We've been talking for 45 minutes. So are there any questions from our... Oh, wait, we have to do a giveaway, right?
Oh, yeah. So we screwed up the last giveaway. We told people to write in YouTube chat and pick our favorite food, but then we have no way to contact them. So we kind of need
We didn't really think that one through.
We did not.
Which was Samsung, of course.
Yeah, sure, blame me. The guy that didn't click go live.
So I think we should just apologize to all the people that won because they actually now have unwon. We're basically like Justin Sun giving away a Tesla.
Well, they could like write us on Twitter, and we might believe them if they tell us they won.
So let's do a new one. Reply to our episode on Bitmain Forked on Twitter with something. What is that thing, Charlie?
What are you asking me for?
I don't know. Make a contest.
Oh no, remember we said that they have to post a picture of their first car, and then we're going to pick the ones that we think are the best.
Wait, the cars are the best or the pictures are the best?
Picture.
Okay.
I thought you wanted a picture of their first car.
That's what I said, their first car.
Oh, okay, yes.
But the first car is never cool.
Picture of your first car.
What was your first car?
No, wait. You have to post a picture.
Let's not ask the tycoon, the African tycoon.
My first car was a piece of junk, so I'm proud of it. Like my dad was like, I'm not giving you a car, but you can find something really cheap, and then you can cut me cut a deal with me where I'll buy it for you and you pay me off. And if it's not paid off over 12 months, then I'm taking it back. And I was like, oh dear.
So you didn't answer. What was your first car?
It was a cheap and nasty little maroon thing.
What model was it?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Mine was a Peugeot 107. Like very small. But it was my first car and I bought it new, which was probably also not the smart thing to do.
Okay, anyway, so the contest is post a picture of your first car in reply to our recent tweet, and we'll pick the winner.
And
you'll get a
tell us
plushie.
the last name of your best friend, your mother's maiden name, and last five of your socials.
Don't spoil the thing.
Last 4 digits of your credit card number.
And the name of your first pet. That should do it.
So there's questions from the audience.
Are there?
Yeah, MZ wants me to say something in German. So I think I will say alles hat ein Ende, nur die Wurst hat zwei.
That's not German.
It is. It means everything has an ending, but a sausage has two.
Does your sausage have two endings?
It's basically it's a description of Kelvin Air.
What?
I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so there is a question. They want us to talk about Giacomo. Giacomo's a nice guy.
Giacomo's RGB protocol, not just Giacomo.
I mean, I think RGB just doesn't compete with Liquid, right? Hey, Samson. Hey, doesn't compete with Liquid, right?
Of course not. But I'll refrain from commenting on RGB because we
It
get
doesn't compete with CNYK. That's all I can tell you.
we get a lot of crap at Blockstream for people thinking we hate Lightning, but we don't. We have a Lightning implementation.
It's not very good, but it's there.
It's the best one. No offense, Stark.
Actually, I honestly haven't looked much into RGB. I probably should take a look at it. Seems interesting.
I'm waiting for the Pantone edition to come out.
Do you guys even know what RGB is?
It's a colored coins protocol on Lightning.
Yes.
So when Mimblewimble sidechain on Monero?
I mean, it's available in testnet. You can go and install it right now. Tari.
He's talking about Tari.
Eari.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Tari is a Mimblewimble implementation?
Yeah. Yep, written from scratch.
Wow.
In Rust.
So you're competing with Charlie.
Oh,
now you guys are going head to head.
Kind of different.
If you, you know, it's actually quite fun if you want to install, like, I don't know if this is very common in the testnet world. I guess it isn't, but you can install Tari Aurora from the App Store. It's not available on F-Droid yet, but it's in the Google Play Store and on iOS. And you can play with Tari testnet on your phone without running a full node.
What do you mean without running a full node?
I mean, like there's a lightweight wallet that's available for testnet right now.
Yeah.
How are you
Tari
validating?
Aurora. Cool, hey? So cool. Now, I have something that I'm going to bring up every episode. Every time Samson mentions Liquid, I'm just going to be like, Tari Aurora. Tari Aurora.
Fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's not going to get annoying at all.
Yeah.
The Tari has a shitcoin, so.
Well,
Does it?
Is testnet Tari really that bad? I mean, it's worth it.
So how are you validating if it's a light wallet? You only have 2 minutes to answer.
Power... Say again?
You only have 2 minutes to answer.
Through the power of blockchain. No, I mean, you do sync up headers, and you are connected to the network. You're not relying on the benevolent nodes to provide you with services for free. So it's normal lightweight, like a normal lightweight Mimblewimble implementation, but it runs over the same network as the rest of the nodes, so you're not connecting to some other layer, which is quite handy. And everything runs on Tor.
Are you actually validating yourself? Because I thought part of the benefit of Mimblewimble is it's very lightweight and small for the whole chain.
It is, but you're not pulling the whole chain down. I mean, that would be crazy.
It's validating the end state.
Mm.
Right, but when I read the Mimblewimble stuff, wasn't like the Bitcoin blockchain condensed into, if Bitcoin was Mimblewimble, it'd be a couple megabytes size.
No, it's not that small.
Okay.
Remember, you've got you have a lot of space saving because of cut through, but then your transactions are physically larger because of confidential transactions.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's enough shilling.
We have another question. Does Whale Panda exclusively trade crypto? No, actually,
He started
March,
trading equities.
Yeah, in March I started trading equity. After the big dump, I started trading equities, and I've actually made more profit probably this year from trading equities than from trading crypto.
So you've got a big Hertz bag.
Hertz, Wirecard, all those great companies.
I heard Wirecard is pumping like crazy now.
Even
because they're getting bailed out. So it went to like $2. It went from 20 to $2, and then it's back to 8. So you could actually 4 exits in 2 days.
Wow, that's crazy.
People are like, oh, crypto is so volatile. Oh, so volatile. We need stable coins. I'm like, stocks are so volatile.
Yeah, I agree.
When is someone launching stable stocks?
You can.
So I guess that's the end of the show then.
Is it?
You want to make a joke to finish it off?
No, I'm tired.
Someone
yeah,
in the chat asked about the Wasabi fork of Litecoin. I actually heard about that recently, and I approve of the name. The name is called Mustard because it's Wasabi Light.
That's very funny. What's the?
Oh my
isn't there a
God.
bread?
Okay.
Isn't there a bread
Oh,
wallet fork?
yeah.
There's a bread wallet fork for Litecoin, which also has some funny name.
Is it loaf?
Oh, it's a Loaf Wallet. Our,
Yeah.
our iOS or Android wallet used to be called Loaf Wallet. We renamed it to Light Wallet recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was Bread Wallet, Loaf Wallet, and Dough Wallet for Dogecoin. So that was funny.
Not really, but sure.
I think it's chuckleworthy. The Monero wallet. One of the Monero wallets is called Cake Wallet.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
But that's not as good
Right.
because it doesn't start with M.
I see.
Monero doesn't start with M.
These dad jokes are just horrible. I apologize to our viewers.
Someone's asking. Oh wait, hang on. This is if it was a trick, they're opening up a 100-acre Bitcoin mining farm in Texas. Yeah, I think so. This question: did Bitmain open up a 100-acre? I don't know if it's 100 acres, but they advertised opening up a 500 megawatt facility in Texas, and it was just an announcement. I think they did some groundbreaking, but they never did anything. So they have nothing in Texas that is that big. And later on, I think they decided to scale it back and still do it, but I'm not sure how far along they got. I should look into it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Kerry Washington asks how the pandemic's affecting us. So we're still self-isolating here in South Africa, although and the whole country's still on lockdown, although we're on an advanced level 3 lockdown instead of level 5, which means that you can go to a restaurant as long as the restaurant has less than 50 people inside and the tables are spaced out. And they've opened some other stuff, so it's somewhat gone back to normal. But they still have a ban on cigarettes, which I think is making a lot of people angry. And you're allowed to buy alcohol now, which is great. And
What's the reasoning behind the cigarette ban?
So that's a good question. I mean, I'm not a smoker, so I can't say that I care much, but the rationale apparently is that a lot of people in townships share cigarettes, and so there's transmission risk. That's one of the main things that they pointed out. I don't think that banning cigarettes changes that. I think, in fact, it makes it worse. Because there's a whole underground market, and they're just going to get their cigarettes, which are now more expensive, and so they're more inclined to share. But
That's true.
maybe to some degree, maybe it's just the government flexing their muscles to see what they can get away with and for how long. I think coming out of this, we're going to see some interesting changes to the way we live.
Okay, my update. Life is actually back to normal, kind of. There's still some distances in that you have to keep in restaurants and stuff like that, but everything is open now. Swimming pool opens actually today now, because that made no sense, but swimming pools are still closed.
Will Pando, why, if it's back to normal, why does your haircut suck still?
It doesn't suck. I literally just took a shower before I came on.
Okay.
I can put it up, but it took too much time, and then I was already late according to you guys.
Okay.
So other than that, everything is relatively normal, and we're also allowed to travel again from half of June. Although now in the EU, we're banning people from United States. You're not allowed in.
It's about time.
United States was Russia, Brazil, and another country, I think. But yeah. So basically, you can travel within Europe. You can travel freely now, and there are 15 countries from outside of Europe, like New Zealand and Canada, that are allowed to come here. But other than that, no real, like, everything's back to normal, kind of. Yeah.
So for Canada, I think we're at level. So I think there's different levels of alertness in Canada. In West Coast Canada, BC, we're down to level 4, up to level 4. Level 5 is back to totally normal. But luckily for BC, we don't have that many cases. But I think recently some people caught coronavirus from a strip club in Vancouver. And I just have no idea why strip clubs are able to open at level 4. It just doesn't make any sense. Charlie,
you have got something to add?
Not much to say. I mean, I'm sheltering in place on my starship, so
Okay.
my spaceship. Been here for a while. It sucks.
Well, if you get lonely, you can just, I don't know, beam down.
Beaming down is in Star Trek, not Star Wars. Come on, Will Panda.
Yeah, of course. I
Know
know
the difference.
Yeah.
what kind of a geek are you?
I know.
I know that. I was just trying to move the conversation along. Okay, so I guess that's it for today. So don't forget to reply to our tweet with a picture of your car, and Ricardo will pick the coolest car or the coolest picture.
Why will I pick the coolest car? We'll all pick the coolest car. It'll be a group effort.
Is it like one winner, or is it like 4 winners, or how you want to do it, Samson?
We can each pick one. That way, that was the original contest, so we should
That's a great idea.
follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Oh, Bitcoin Meme Hub says I should shield the Blockstream masks, but I don't have any.
Okay, so that's the end of the show, and
Cool.
We
Okay.
need Blockstream to pay us money.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll send you a mask.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
See you later.
Magical crypto.